Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. We have made it to the weekend. We are finishing up one more week. So I am so grateful that you're hanging in here with us and that you are following along and prayerfully that you're doing the work. My name is Alicia Johnson, and welcome to my YouTube channel. And I am so excited that you are spending this time with us. This community, this little corner of the world, is all dedicated to helping everyone who chooses to learn how to recalibrate their lives 12 hours for God and 12 hours for man. And one of the ways that we do this is through journaling. And this is where you have found us right now. And these last 19 days, we have been dedicating to the power of forgiveness. And today we're continuing on with day 20. But before we begin, if you are new here, welcome and make sure that you subscribe to the channel so that you can stay abreast of all of the challenges and all of the exciting things that we are going to be doing here. So I'm very, very, very excited about what the things that are to come. So tonight we're entering into day 20, forgiving yourself for assuming too much of the responsibility. Assignment: reread your dedication so that you will remain pinpoint accurate in your journaling focus. Make a list of all the times you have taken on too many assignments that were not yours. Why? Knowing what is yours to do helps eliminate a great deal of unnecessary stress. Benefit: knowing what is yours to do and what is heaven's will help to bring balance to every assignment you undertake. You must stop working so hard. Day 20: forgiving yourself for assuming too much of the responsibility. So, just like all of the other assignments, this assignment is yours to do. How much of the responsibility do you take on that is not yours? This assignment was a very real assignment for me. It was something that I literally had to really understand what was going on. So the story that I share that helps people to solidify more of what this looks like is that one day I was sitting at my desk at work and I just felt overwhelmed. I felt literally overwhelmed. I was tired. I was like, "Oh my gosh, who has time to do all of this? Who has time to, do all of the things as a parent, do all of the things as a wife, do all of the things as an employee, do all of these things?" And so I was complaining, and God was like, take out a sheet of paper. Take out a sheet of paper, and on the top of the paper, write down these three letters: ASK. ASK. And so I was like, yeah, okay. And God was like, well, why do you feel like you have to do all of these things? I feel like I have to do all of these things because it is my responsibility. I felt that it was my responsibility. And so one of the things that was so interesting after God had me to write ASK on the paper, God was like, only do things for a week that you are asked to do, that people seek you out for, and that someone literally knocks on your door or your cube. I said, okay. So for an entire week, I only did things that I was asked to do, that people sought me out for, or that literally people knocked on my door or my cube at work. And it was so powerful. I had like four, four legitimate things to do. I was floored. I was like, "Are you kidding me? 4 things." And so I was like, "How could this be? Why is this?" And God was like, "Because you are an inserter. You are an inserter." And my question to everyone on this live tonight and those who will catch by replay: are you an inserter? Do you insert yourself into situations that you were not ever intended to be a part of? And when God began to show me this, it was hilarious. The bulk of the responsibility, or the bulk of the activities, the bulk of the things that were weighing me down were literally the things that I had entered into, that I inserted myself into those things. And so now I don't do anything without a question. On earth as it is in heaven, for everything in the natural, there's a parallel and corresponding occurrence in the supernatural. We are educated out of our genius, we are educated out of our greatness. And the Bible teaches us that we personally have the directive on our lives to choose life or death for yourself. You get to choose, but you cannot choose unless you are presented with an opportunity to choose. And that is what a question affords you. A question affords you the opportunity to choose. It affords you the opportunity to count the cost of the decision that you're making. And it allows you the opportunity to choose life or death for yourself. See, the world wants us to make knee jerk reactions, to make knee jerk reactions and to make knee jerk decisions. Because when you make decisions too soon without giving yourself the opportunity to take into account the cost associated with this decision, whoo, we get caught up in a whole lot of stuff. And that was me. I was getting caught up into things that I did not have the chance to seriously count the cost. When you take on too much responsibility on your own, you're not going to be able to have the full steam, if you will, that is required to get you through to the end of that thing. This is why so many people start so many things and don't finish those things because they don't know how to count the cost. They have not waited for the question. They have just inserted themselves. I've done enough prison ministry to know that this or neglecting this gets you into a whole lot of trouble. I'll never forget I had a session one night and I was in with the ladies and we went over this exercise. And I went around the room and I was like, you don't have to tell me why you're in here. You don't have to give me any specifics about anything, but I want you to ask yourself, think about your scenario. Think about why you're in here. And were you presented with a clear question that you could answer? And one by one, every woman was like, oh my God. Everyone was in there because of some knee jerk reaction. Somebody said, let's go handle this. And you like, okay. Girl, you don't have to stand for that. Show them who you are. Okay. You deserve better than this. I do. When God began to help me to understand this was hilarious. If you are not given the time to choose life or death for yourself, if someone is forcing you to make a decision faster than you are willing to make that decision, because everything on earth is available to be used by the heavenly realm in whatever way is needed. See, there are different realms of heaven. So you always want to wait to be invited into a situation by the highest realm of heaven. The lower realms of heaven, which is where most people consider like the enemy to live, where the satanic forces are found, when that realm of heaven uses people to do its bidding, the process is very different. So, what I discovered that it was so interesting is that everyone that discussed and was willing to talk about the way or the what got them into the situations that they were in, it was all about making a quick decision. It was all about feeling coerced to do something. It was all about an adrenaline rush. It was all about acting first and thinking later. And that is one of the see the enemy doesn't have a whole lot of creativity. The enemy only has a few moves, and the enemy will use those moves until the return of Jesus. Okay. The enemy is going to use these moves over and over again. The enemy's moves are designed to kill something, steal something, or destroy something. So, this is a gauge that you can use to identify which realm of heaven is trying its best to communicate with you. And in identifying this realm of heaven and identifying who is trying to use you, then you have the opportunity to choose life or death for yourself. So if someone comes up to me and makes me feel pressured in any way, then I know that this is not God. God is the creator of time. God is not bound by time. God is never going to say to you, I need you to make this decision within the next 5 minutes. I need you to make this decision in the next 2 minutes. Because, see, God is in control of time. God can speed that time up or slow that time down, whatever is required to move you through the process. The enemy puts pressure on you because the enemy knows that it has a limited window of opportunity to get you to make a decision before you cross over into the next realm of understanding that the enemy cannot reach. This is why it's very important for each and every person to get to understand the spirit realm in a different and deeper way. Once you begin to tap into what is going on in the realms that you cannot see, that realm, those realms become more real than heaven. I mean, than earth. Earth is one of the realms that exists within of all of heaven, but there are other realms that are available to us. So, this reality that we're in right now is a very dense reality, but it is also a heavenly reality, but it is a reality that we are all sharing in at this moment. But when you allow yourself to go higher and when you allow heaven to take you deeper, you begin to understand that as you go deeper into the holy of holies, as you begin to move further into the inner workings of heaven, you begin to realize that there are levels to this. See, the world makes you think that if you say one good prayer and you do a few corporate fasts and you do all of the spiritual checklist things, that that's going to move you to the next level. That's not what it does. In some cases, it can make you more stuck than you were before. Because when you get so caught up in the traditions of men and in the traditional ways of doing things, then you lose focus and sight. You lose sight of heaven. And by taking on too much responsibility and stepping outside of the things that God needs you to do, you are distancing yourself from heaven even more. One of the most powerful things that heaven began to show me is that it is so powerful when we learn to take our time and we learn to sit with the Father and we learn to understand the Father's voice and we learn to understand how heaven works and we learn how angels work and how the spirit realm works so that we in turn have the opportunity to see more of heaven. This is why it is so exciting when you begin to only do the things that heaven requires you to do so that you can begin to step more into the things that heaven wants you to know, more of the things that heaven wants you to be involved with. When you start to move in the direction that heaven wants you to move in, your assignments are going to have more meaning. Your resolve is going to become stronger. Your discernment is going to become greater. But the enemy doesn't want that. The enemy wants to keep you stuck so that they have work to do. Once you begin to understand what it takes to move from one level to the next, you're going to stop wasting your time doing the insignificant things. One of the most powerful things that God did for me, and this is why a lot of us miss opportunities to understand heaven even greater. So I used to be one of those people that wanted to be like the perfect Christian because after I had messed up everything so bad in my marriage and all of that, I went to the other extreme. I just wanted to do everything just right. I want to tithe, I want to give to the poor people, I want to feed the homeless. I was on every time the church doors open, I was in there. I was volunteering for everything. I was in every activity that there was. I was dragging my kids. It was, because I got to get this right. I want God to see me. You see me, God. You see me. You see me. You see me. I'm feeding. I'm making sandwiches for the homeless people. I'm serving. I'm going to the nursing homes. I'm visiting with the sick. I'm checking it off the list. And it was so interesting because with all of the church activity, I was feeling more disconnected from heaven. It felt like my life was getting even worse. I was like, what is this? And I wanted to be real good. So I didn't want to miss. I didn't want to miss giving. I didn't want to miss anything. So I put my tithe on auto pay. with the church that I was attending. So I put my tithe on auto pay so it would automatically come out every paycheck. So I was in good standing with the church. God said, "You might be in good standing with the church, but you're not in good standing with me." What? Because see, I had taken on all of this extra responsibility that looked righteous, it looked holy. How can feeding the homeless people be bad? How can putting your tithe on autopilot be bad? How could going to visit the sick and shut in be bad? It's bad when you are trying to earn your way into heaven, when you're trying to pay your way into heaven. God was like, I am not concerned with your busy spiritual schedule. I'm not concerned with that. God was like, you could do one activity and do it with all your heart, and you would be just fine. But all of these different activities I had, I was so exhausted that I couldn't even talk to God. I was so exhausted that I couldn't even hear God. But it looked good on paper. I was like, God, I just felt like I was just hitting my head up against the wall. This is not working. What am I supposed to do? God said, first things first, take your tithe off auto pay. And I'm like, oh, surely this is not of God. See, if I had gone to my pastor, the deacon of the church, or the mothers of the church, or, the powers that be, no, that is not the Lord. The Lord is not telling you that. Let me show it to you here in the Bible. Tithing. That's very biblical. You need to do that, and you need to do it here in your local assembly. God said, the whole world is my church. Take it off auto pay. I was like, ooh. And God said, only give when I say give. I'm like, what? God said, give when I say give. I said, okay. Y'all, talking about having a relationship with God. If you want a quick, fast, and just down and dirty, quick way to get a relationship with God, allow God to handle and direct your money. God was like, you either believe that everything belongs to me or it doesn't. I'm like, ooh. God said, test me on this. Woo. God had me doing some stuff. And you always know it's God because God is not concerned about your schedule. God is not concerned about your payments. God is not concerned about your due dates. God ain't concerned about nothing but you listening to heaven. I go this one time I was at the grocery store and I was in line. There's a person in front of me and a person behind me. It was just three of us in line. So the person in front of us was checking out. And so as the person was checking out, God was like, I want you to pay for the groceries for the person behind you. I turned around and looked. I was like, God, I only have 3 items. They got like 20, 20, 25 items. Not little items either. So I'm sitting up here having this debate with God. God was like, you're going to either follow me or you're not. What's up? You asked me to help you. I'm trying to help you, but you're not listening. Do you know that the register, the cashier, like something happened with a register? And I realized it wasn't her register. I realized that heaven was using this scenario to get me in check because I had already taken my stuff out and put it on the belt. So I had the separator between my stuff and the person in front of me, and I had the separator between my stuff and the person behind me. Guys, like we can stand here all day, every day. I'm the creative time. I'm not moved by time. You can sit here. You're gonna have to go back and get some more produce because by the time you're done, this is gonna be rotted. I'm like, well, dang. So the woman behind me was busy, doing her thing. And so I just slid the little divider out and I put it back behind, where it's supposed to go. And she didn't even notice. And I was just mad at this point. So the woman just kept ringing and 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 ringing. And so the lady, she had her kids and stuff with, so she wasn't even paying attention. So by the time she's like, "Wait a minute, no, 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 no," because it was like the end of her stuff, and she was like, "No, that's my stuff." And the woman she looked at me like, "Why didn't you stop me?" I said, "Just go ahead, ring it up." So she rang it up, and I looked. I was like, "Do you know that I don't get paid until Wednesday?" I said, "Never mind," because I knew something was gonna happen again. I said, "Let me just go." So I paid for it. And I'm walking out the store. I'm mad. Okay. A lot of times, people, I be laughing because you can tell, like, especially in the social media world, you can tell when people are actually doing this stuff. And all this burns me up because, a lot of people do these social experiments that they think they need to like share with the world. And they'll go through and they're like, "Hey, I just paid for this woman's groceries." How humiliating is that? How humiliating is that if and this is why God teaches us, the Bible teaches us that if you do what you do for the world, you have already received your reward. You're not going to get 1 ounce more than what the world has already given you. Do your giving in the secret places. That's a whole nother story. I got some forgiveness work to do on that. I got heated. But I can tell when people are doing it for the gram, or people are doing it for the likes, or people are doing it to go viral because they a little bit too happy. See, it's different when you give from your abundance. It's different when you give from your overflow. It's different when you give from a place that is not going to hurt you. But that thing hits a whole lot differently when heaven takes from the little bit that you have to help somebody else. Now that is a faith walk. So don't come to me with all of this. Oh, I just bought somebody's groceries and it came to $500. And $500 means nothing to you. You have not given, you have performed. Okay, anyway, I'm sorry about that. But I'm walking out of the grocery store and I'm mad, I'm nervous. I got to go get in the car with Mike and he, we going from paycheck to paycheck trying to pay bills and all of this, and then I'm going to tell him that I bought somebody else's groceries? Are you kidding me? See, God is going to hit you where it hurts. God is the problem and the solution. See, when God gives it to you, then God knows how to hurt you and heal you all at the same time. That woman started running after me. And I was just like, "Oh, I don't even want to talk to you right now." And she looked, when I turned around, she had like tears in her eyes because she thought she was going to have to put some things back because I guess her payday wasn't till Wednesday either. I don't know. I'm like, "Girl, I know, but it's good." But when heaven puts you on assignment, that means that you are no longer in control of what it's going to feel like. See, when we start to do things for ourselves, we going to stop when it starts hurting. But when we allow heaven to be in control, heaven is not concerned with the pain because God knows that in the same way He broke you, heaven can heal you. So pay attention to the responsibilities that you are assuming and ask yourself if these responsibilities have been given to you from heaven or have you acquired these because you have done too much. All right, everybody. I hope y'all had some fun with this. I got to go back. I'm probably gonna have to. I really don't re-listen to these, but I'm probably gonna have to re-listen to this one because I got a little heated about some of that stuff. I'm gonna have to go back and do some forgiveness work on that. Oh my goodness, it's amazing what things come up the deeper that you go. So, y'all have a wonderful weekend. We meet here Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And this is the time that we use to close our day so that as we're entering into the evening, we know what we have asked heaven to work out for us and in us and through us. So, y'all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for sticking it out and staying here. And if you are new here, please subscribe to the channel so that you can stay on top of everything. And I will see y'all on Monday. Sweet dreams. And I love you all. Have a good one.